Hello and welcome to the Good Imaginations podcast. Tonight, we will journey to the home of the Sea Witch, where you can unwind, reorient yourself, and if you would like, fall fast asleep. Before we begin our adventure, make sure you're settled. If you are seated, get comfortable. Listen to your spine and relax your shoulders. If you are lying down, get your covers and pillow where you want them. Create your nest. Very good. Now, take 3 deep breaths with me in preparation for the journey ahead. Let go of your day and travel to a vacation for your mind. Imagine with me. See, smell, and be present. Breathe with me now. In through your nose, out through your mouth. Slow and even. 1. 2. 3. 'Very good. Now, shut your eyes and let's drift off to the site of tonight's adventure. You are a wounded adventurer, and you are alive, although you didn't think you would ever see the light of day again. Someone found you in the woods after you were attacked. Your enemies left you for dead. Sure, you would bleed to death on the forest floor, but you didn't. Instead, you woke up in a large bed, with sheets and a blanket of cream-colored linen. A huge window, as tall as the wall, looks out onto the sea. Turquoise water, white sand, trees thrashing in the wind. It's been a whole day since then, but you are still in this bed, healing. The room you woke up in is dark wood. It reminds you of being inside an old cuckoo clock. It's carved like that, like a beautiful, intentional wooden cottage, like something someone spent hours making by hand. Everything smells old and like wood polish and walnuts and stone. Herbs hang from the ceiling, and you can smell those too. For a while, you kept drifting off to sleep, and each time you awoke, your bandages had been changed. An ointment that smells like lily of the valley always hangs around the bandage, mixing with the coppery smell of your blood. You have not yet met your deliverer. You merely lie in this bed and listen to the sea, and wonder whose house this is, and how they have a long linen nightshirt that fits you, and why you feel so at peace despite your many wounds. It is in this place, in this moment, that you meet the Sea Witch for the first time. A woman walks into the room, carrying a tray. You stare at her, and you should be scared out of your wits, but for some reason you're not. She looks like a monster, but she feels like a friend. Her skin is deep, dark green, almost as deep as the night sky. She has 2 slitted nostrils instead of a nose, not unlike a snake. Her eyes are large and flaming orange, with flickers of light that pass inside of her iris. She looks like a demon, and yet you can't mistake the feeling that she is merely otherworldly, merely strange, not wicked. You sense that she is a being of love, of sensitivity, of unselfishness, of nature, and of power. "I brought you tea," she says. There is something charismatic about the way she isn't afraid of what you think of her. If you were a snake witch living alone by the sea, you would be gutted when a human being looked at you in horror. She seems at peace, understanding, the way a god might be. Just because humans don't understand her, it doesn't make her ugly. Thank you, you say. As she approaches you with the tray, you find you can't stop being in awe of it, her sense of self, her security. She is so secure she can give without worry. It's like a fragrance in the air. She hands you a black pottery cup and the liquid inside of it is as bright and glowing as her orange eyes. You sniff it, the tea, and it smells like tangerine and saffron. Again, you sense that you have nothing to fear from her, even though this tea looks like lava. You cup the warmth of the tea between your fingers, and then you look up at her. "Are you evil?" you ask her. "Oh no," she says. "I am only strange." You nod and take a sip of the tea. You finish the drink and feel better. She stands there, so strange, in this strange house. There's something healing about otherworldliness that you've never noticed until this moment. Perhaps because all your life you have tried to be someone who matches, who belongs, who is liked, but in so doing, you've squeezed yourself a little. Perhaps you have grown a little crooked inside of all of your many boxes. She is utterly secure, utterly whole, and utterly terrifying. She is at peace with her strangeness. Simply being in her presence seems to knit bits of you back together, like the world is finally vast enough to contain you just as you are. You feel comfortable. She takes the cup back from you when you've finished the tea and sets it down. She pulls out a scarf and holds it up. It's black silk with an entire garden of embroidered flowers on it. She doesn't speak to you. She simply tucks the scarf behind your head, and you feel better. You realize that, and this is so odd. She loves you, if that's the right word. You feel care and concern radiating off her. She wants you to be whole. She sees you. Yes, it is love, but you've never met anything like it. It isn't a possessive love. She doesn't feel like she owns you, the way humans try to own a child or a lover. She doesn't want a thing from you, and yet she cares for you more intensely than most parents do for their children. You really feel like you are meeting God. "Who are you really?" you ask. "Oh," she says, "I'm just a sea witch. Only a sea witch." "Are you the only one in the world?" you ask. She seems to understand what you are trying to say. She sits on the edge of the bed. "There are many beings like me. Humans, animals. We make up the other half of the universe. We are so good, but so quiet, that most people do not even notice we are there." "I'm noticing now," you say, "and I don't know how to say thank you." She merely nods and gestures at the scarf she's tucked behind your head. "I embroidered that," she says. "Many, many hours. All love, all good thoughts, all wholeness. It will help your head. The time of love I spent on it is going to seep into your mind, heal some things inside your brain." You stare at each other for a minute. "Go ahead and nap again," she says. "You'll feel better when you wake up." She brushes out of the room and shuts the door. You lie back and stare at the ceiling, the taste of the tangerine tea still in your mouth. The scarf behind your head radiates comfort. The closest analogy you can come up with is that the scarf is warm and cozy, like a fire, something you want to bask in, but it isn't warm, not actually. It simply has a presence of delight that you want to be closer to. You roll your head to the side and stare out the huge glass window at the sea. You wish you'd known sooner in your life that good was so tangible, but you know it now. It is changing you. Or, well, maybe that's the scarf. You feel strangely whole, warm, content, and found as you drift off to sleep.